into a brand new wave, drowning out the noise that's tame. Liberty whispers through the brave, breaking free from every chain. Nullify the rules they crave, crypto beats that pave the way. Anarchy with minds that's safe, algorithms put on the tape. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride. Beyond control we take a stand, casting off the iron brand. Freedom flowing through our hands, revolution's our command. Decentralize the way we plan, all together we expand. Breaking shackles for the clan, in this journey we're unpanned. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride.
I am the legacy of Jennifer Kaiser. And the legacy news starts right about now. Welcome in. I just want to say this cup came from El Salvador. So Donald Trump, am I going to be deported to El Salvador?
Donald Trump. Be bumping. Fish bumping. I'm Donald Trumping.
It really did. It came from a family in a little village in El Salvador. They make their own pottery and cups.
Talk about real markets.
This is a real market, man. It really just a bunch of poor El Salvadorians in a tiny village.
Truly authentic.
Yeah. So I just want to ask President Trump, will I be deported for this cup? This is MS-13. The cup is MS-13. Anyways, there's a lot of other things. Who cares? That's the goofball moment. That's Andrew Joseph, everybody. So singing Bitcoins. I'm Zachary Kaiser. Once again, we're back at it for episode 59. We're almost, before you know it, we're going to be on 100 episodes of Legacy News.
That's wild.
That is wild. And we're also on Rumble now. So if you don't like YouTube, because YouTube's algorithm is horrendous, and we want you to check us out. So check Legacy News out every Wednesday for Crypto Wednesday, every Monday/Tuesday, depends on when this episode gets released. We might do Mondays. Take the break on Tuesday. So, but it could be Tuesday, it could be tomorrow. Who knows? Well, I don't know. But regardless, every Tuesday, Wednesday, we're dropping an episode. So at 5 p.m. and it's going to be on Rumble now. So I believe it's just this Legacy, right? Or the Legacy, right? It's all, I don't know. It'll be in the description of the YouTube.
Legacy up in the stars.
So, but there are some things in the news.
The divine
It doesn't.
bestows their toughest battles upon their silliest geese.
It is. It's very silly. It's silly that we're still on this. People and people are starting to actually wake up to it, but yet they don't ascertain the realness and the real threat that we actually have with what's going on. But I think I'm gonna let Doug actually talk about it. Our favorite guy from Off Grid.
He'll let us know if
But
it's a work or a shoot.
I don't think it's a work. I think it's been a shoot and a long running. But all I gotta say, everybody, is keep looking up, stay vigilant, and just pay attention to your skies. So other than that, do you have anything to add to start the show, Andrew, before we jump in?
I'll reserve comment for post video. How's that?
Post video. So after all of this is done and we're no longer live on
And
air
I'm in
recording,
Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll leave a comment.
Mhm.
Unless I'm playing a Weird Al song.
All right. Well, let's jump into this so we can discuss. Oh, there's that bearded old man.
When your hard work is paying off, y'all, we're going to drop the bomb in this video today. They're coming out in the open now. They're openly admitting it, little pieces at a time. If you guys haven't seen the latest interview with Dr. Phil and Robert Kennedy Jr., OMG, I'm going to get into it right now. We're going to talk about how they're openly admitting to spraying in the skies. Robert Kennedy Jr. was asked this direct question on the Dr. Phil show. Roll the tape.
My biggest concern is the stratospheric aerosol injections that are continuously peppered on us every day. Bromium, aluminum, strontium, it's sprayed in our skies all day long. And I know you've talked to Dane Wigington about this. He seems to be one of the experts in the field.
Is there a question?
Yes. How do we stop it?
That is not happening in my agency. You know, we don't do that. It's done, we think, by DARPA, and a lot of it now is coming out of the jet fuel.
Yes,
so,
sir.
you know, those materials are put in jet fuel. I'm going to do everything in my power to stop it. We're bringing on.
Why is it always jet fuel?
Because it
I don't believe it. I don't believe the jet fuel thing. I mean, it could be possible theoretically. I will have to add before we jump onto this. I love how Robert Kennedy deflected by also answering the question, but actually deflected by saying, "Well, that's not my agency that's doing this."
Pivot.
We think it's
Pivot.
Pivot. Yeah. You pivot. We think it's DARPA. Well, no shit. I mean, any person with half a brain probably should realize that it's been DARPA all along since its inception in 1958. But I digress.
I don't know.
I digress.
Look, the way you pause the video, maybe that might imply something.
Maybe. I also do like how Dr. Phil tried to get her to. He himself tried to intervene to get her to shut the fuck up.
Get to the point, lady.
Get to the point. It's like that. It just goes to show you that people in all points of all highest points in every industry, they know.
They? Who were they?
Who are they? That's the question. Who are they?
Obviously, it's DARPA.
Evidently, it's DARPA. So, I digress. Let's go on.
And somebody who's going to think only about that, find out who's doing it and holding them accountable.
Yes, sir.
First thing he does says it's not the HHS, it's not my department, but he knows that it's probably and is DARPA that's up there spraying these chemicals. Man, Dan Wingington must be off the chain excited right now. All the years of his hard work, plus myself and a lot of other people trying to sound the alarm on this chemical spraying of our skies is finally being validated, and the truth is going to come out, because that's what it takes. It takes all of us consciously focusing on something to make that come to the forefront. As long as we stay focused on the things that matter, these things are going to be exposed and the light will shine on them. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know about DARPA or not, but I'm going to read to you a few things that you can find on the internet about DARPA. And they've been spraying our skies a lot lately, and we've been raining now for like 2-3 days, on and off, heavy rains. Okay, we got a lot of flooding in Missouri. There's some tornadoes that broke out. If you guys are noticing any of this weather, it is not normal weather. If you do a simple Google search, you could see that the government has patents on tornadoes and how to create them. They have patents on rain and how to make them. And all that stuff is public access. But now we're going to get into this DARPA thing. DARPA, or the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. I was saying that to someone earlier today. I said, yeah, it's DARPA. And they were like, who's DARPA? I never even heard of DARPA. And this guy is like an older gentleman who's, you know, kind of hip to the government stuff. And he didn't even know what DARPA was. Its primary goal is to develop breakthrough technologies for national security applications. DARPA has also played a crucial role in developing technologies with civilian applications like the internet. The history of it is, it was established in 1958 in response to a launch of Sputnik. DARPA has a history of driving innovation in both military and civilian fields. The internet, GPS, and stealth technology, and mRNA technology, examples of DARPA-funded technologies. Did you hear that last part? mRNA technologies. Now you're going to love this part, because DARPA works with the universities. Our universities have been captured. If you're sending your kids there, if you're paying money to send them there, pull that support immediately. All you're doing is wasting your money, and you're going to get back a socialist, communist, fascist from that school. Okay, it's just a fact. Those are reprogramming centers. That's all that they are now. Okay, that the college game is over, and all you're doing is sending your kids off to be indoctrinated. But I digress. DARPA works with universities, industry, small businesses, and government partners to foster innovation. Did you guys hear that? DARPA works with universities, industry, small businesses, and government partners. This is basically like an NGO right here. It's not even an actual government department. Holy smokes. Now that you see the DARPA connection, you heard it right out of Junior's mouth that they are suspicious that it is DARPA and that they're actually adding these chemicals into the jet fuel now. I'm not for sure if I'm buying that 100%, but that is a start, okay? And that they're spraying these guys with the jet fuel with DARPA. All right, now you take this information however you like. I found it very interesting because I know that, you know, the quietness is breaking. Okay, now all we need to do is get a bunch of these pilots to come out and just flat out say that, yeah, I was responsible. I've been flying these planes. I see the streaks in the sky. I didn't think it was normal, you know, something to this effect. We want to have the pilots. If you're a pilot, please come forward. You can even contact me and I'll do a whole interview with you and everything. growinginfaithfarm@gmail.com. But if you're a pilot, please start coming forward. This is going to get busted wide open. Now, if it's going to get changed or not, that's another thing, because they like to tell you all the stuff like COVID, that it came from some lab in China, which I don't believe, okay? And then that the bioweapon was released that was going to save you from it, which actually hurt you even more, but they still leave it out there for you. You can still go get that jab right now, and it is actually taking you out. And there's so much evidence on that right now, just like mask wearing. I'll do a post in our community tab here after this video, and I'll give you guys an example on where masks came from, what they learned about them, and why they were implemented during the pandemic. All right. But I found this super interesting. I think that it's going to come out. If we all keep it in our conscious, if we all keep posting about it. I'm going to show you guys right now a video that I put up on X day before yesterday Maybe it was yesterday. I'm going to show it to you right now.
What a nice little cabin that is. And we like to grow food out here. But wait, there's a huge problem. Our government's trying to kill us. Now look at that hook right there. See that hook? Why does it hook right in front of the sun? Look, what a coincidence. Look at that line right there. All the lines are coming to block the sun again this morning here on the homestead. Now there's a couple lines right there. Look at that line right there. He's spraying it out good. There he is right there doing his good government job. Because y'all, it is the government that's doing that. Don't let them fool you into thinking that they have no clue who's up in our airspace. I mean, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. Look at that one right there. It's already fanning out. So there's your morning skies. It's no surprise. They're killing you right before your very eyes. But have a nice day.
Jet aircraft emissions, particularly from high altitude flights, are the primary source of aviation-induced cloudiness, which alters regional climates, affects rainfall patterns, and deposits heavy metals into our environment. This form of geoengineering, often euphemistically termed aviation-induced cloudiness, is not merely incidental. It is a direct, measurable phenomenon that exerts profound effects on both human and ecological health. While it is sometimes referred to as unintentional geoengineering, monitoring evidence and increasing public awareness make it increasingly difficult to credibly maintain these additives are purely accidental. The veil of unintentionality is rapidly unraveling in the face of undeniable patterns and consequences. While there is ongoing semantic confusion over whether or not aviation-induced cloudiness should be categorized as chemtrails, the essential reality remains unchanged. These emissions contain highly toxic compounds, including heavy metals, many of which exist in particular sizes too small for standard EPA air quality monitoring stations to detect. Even when commercial airplanes are not producing visible cirrus clouds, they are constantly releasing hazardous contaminants into the atmosphere. This issue demands urgent recognition and action as a serious public and environmental health threat, regardless of the terminology used. You guys got that? And if you notice in RFK Jr.'s response, and even Dr. Phil, like rushing her along and telling her, is there a question in here? He didn't do that to one other single person. But as soon as she started talking about the sprays in the skies, he tried to cut her off and dismiss her. She got her question out, and even Junior was kind of dismissive about it, okay? He said, you know, we're la, and we'll get to it later. I think this is one of the things that need to be pressed on first. Leave a comment down below on what you think, and let me know if you found some value in this video by giving it a thumbs up, all right? We'll see you guys on the next video. For me, it's very validating, all right? I'll be honest with you guys. I've been trying to talk about this stuff, and, you know, not a lot of people are on board with it. A lot of people think you're crazy when you talk about it. They don't look up in their skies, and I am really trying to sound the alarm. I did a video just a little while ago, and it was very depressing, because it gets very depressing. Gardens are not producing. People are sending pictures. They're talking about their gardens. They're talking about lack.
Did you cancel him?
I canceled him, man. I canceled him.
How could
He
you?
was going too far. He was getting a little too up there, man. Too crazy. He was talking
Too
crazy.
little informed.
There's the government. The government.
You had a little bit too much to think today.
Too much. He's thinking too far, dude. The government is doing nothing. DARPA is just an imaginary. That's in your head. They're there for your benefit. That's
You
a load
silly
of bullshit. Yeah, you silly goose. You silly Billy. But anyways, first off, everybody, let's build a legacy down there. Go and support our Patreon. We're trying to set up, but we want to build the community before we actually try to branch forward and actually start doing some things. Don't worry, we'll get something up there so it's not empty. But but let's build a legacy. Come join the community and help us out while we help you out. It's about building a community. Speaking of community, though,
Communist.
yeah. Speaking of our gracious communist government and trying to implement the greatest communist document of all time as a reality, which is unenforceable, by the way, because everybody's dead. They're
We
old.
need to have that mutual insurance, my friend.
Hmm.
We have a lot of backlog cases. We have to make sure that it gets resolved.
Backlog.
Yeah. There's still unsolved crimes and situations from the 1920s and 30s that we haven't resolved yet. So, mutual insurance. Everyone gets their day.
Everybody gets their day in court, even if you're no longer here on this earth. So, what do you think about this? Because I'm being real here, dude. I do look up at the skies. I do pay attention. The weather, the weather, and how it has been. I mean, it's one thing. Like I understand, like back in the day, like April showers, May flowers, right? But it wasn't April. It wasn't just April. We're talking like February over the past few years, and in areas where it's not like they've adjusted. It doesn't make sense. They've adjusted like Tornado Alley, like we've known where in this country where Tornado Alley is, right, which is around parts of Missouri, Oklahoma, Nebraska, like where it's flat, right? Well, it's kind of shifted the last couple of years where like your new Tornado Alley is parts of like southern Arkansas leading into Louisiana and Alabama, Mississippi, western Tennessee. It's like I mean, these are not areas that are not to say that they don't get tornadic activity, because there's always that possibility. Every place on this earth is a threat to severe weather that can obviously charge up a funnel cloud. But
threat to the system.
Yeah, but when you're in areas that have a lot more obstacle to go for these tornadoes, it's a lot harder for these tornadoes to truly form and go.
Yeah.
Because they're going to bounce around. Hills and valleys are going to let it. It's going to bounce around, and then it's going to dissipate into the air. Trees, or when you have a lot of trees, well, the trees are going to be more of a buffer, and so towns are a little bit more safer because you have a tree grove, right?
Yeah.
Whereas out in the middle of like bumfuck flat Oklahoma, Kansas, where there's really not a whole lot of trees in sight, and it's a great plain. I mean, you don't have a lot of stopping room. It's just flat. So yes, it's gonna be normal to see in severe weather situations at that time of the year for that type of weather to occur, which it still does, but it's shifted. I mean, for fuck's sake, Florida got hit by 2 hurricanes in a row. That hasn't happened in decades, but it happened in a row. And one of those hurricanes was able to hit landfall and divert into the mountains and stay at hurricane level speeds and go all the way into North Carolina before it moved on and went back out to the
South
ocean.
Carolina.
Some parts of South Carolina, but I mean, where it hit the worst was eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina. I mean, that's not natural.
No, it's not.
You can't have a hurricane on land. I mean, I guess you could, but
if you think about it in terms of stuff like trading, right? You don't put it all in, take a position all in one spot. You diversify your position, and you get do reuptaking of a return. So what I think is, if there is any like malevolent behavior here, is that they are trying to diversify and plan ahead. They're sowing the seeds for whatever plan that they have to make it successful. So
Yeah. Well, he says your government's killing you. I think inadvertently, sure, because that's a lot of heavy metals that are in that are being placed in the atmosphere. I don't necessarily think I'm not going to put the tinfoil hat on completely and say that this is a plan all along. I think it's a testing mechanism that even our own government, because why would a dumb pilot? I mean, this is why they use dumbasses, right? But they're jeopardizing themselves just as much as they're jeopardizing us. So I think it's more of a testing sequence of seeing what they could do. How can we manipulate the weather? If we can manipulate weather, then that is the greatest weapon deterrent that you could ever have beyond nukes when it comes to threats abroad. So like now you can control the weather. Well, now you can send a hurricane, oh yeah, and make it even more fiercer over in the Gobi Desert of China.
I mean,
Just to
make
show them
sense.
like, hey, yeah, just to show them, hey, we just made it rain in the Gobi Desert. See what we could do over Shanghai or Beijing, China.
This isn't something that's new either, because I mean, I like to listen to the old radio programs, The Shadow, right? And there is an episode where they go and there's this scientist and he creates a virus or whatever, and he says, I can take out an entire army in 6 months if I just get the infection started, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, well, if that's the truth, we need some evidence, we need some proof. So he goes and he starts poisoning an army, a Western army. I'm not going to say specifically. You can look it up because I don't want to be accused of anything. But and that's the whole episode, is that he's testing this to show that it works, and so that they can take down foreign powers.
No, I mean the COVID the COVID experience that occurred. I don't know. I don't know if that was inovert, or if they actually were attempting to, or if this really was a plan to round out these I'm thinking the latter on that, because there's a lot of money enmeshed into the pharmaceutical industry, in government contracts, subsidies. So the fact is the healthcare system has nothing to do with healthcare. It has everything more to do with get them sick and we can make more money. So it is control. But as far as like weather manipulation, I honestly could see that it's very inovert. Could it be that they're trying to, again, put conspiracy hat on? Could it be that they're trying to stamp out your ability to grow your own food, be sustainable, so that you have to utilize their systems? Sure. But that's few and far between. That's going a little bit too far. It could be another route that they're going, and they could just be, I mean, they're using the airspace that they can use, which is the American airspace, right? I mean, if you venture any further, you might actually inadvertently start a war.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of this weather manipulation could actually be a way of testing a new deterrent of a weapon that you could have in your disposal, so that you can so that you don't necessarily have to so you could basically have something else in the cards. Be like, oh, we have nukes and we have weather.
And they can't just directly, test it out on foreign populations, but they're comfortable with controlling people and utilizing people for their own, nefarious ends within their own population, because obviously they have the final authority on everything that happens here. So they're not. It's like that thing with the signal chat leak thing or whatever from a couple weeks ago, and they're like, well, we don't know how we can market this, so let's just go with what we can, and we'll try to proceed slowly. They don't have any morals or ethics.
I think that's the fact of the matter is they don't have any morals or ethics. It's not that there's this grand conspiracy. Maybe there is, who knows? But it's just the fact that when you're doing certain things that are probably bad, you don't think of it as something bad because you're thinking of a grand goal in mind for the key word here, a deterrent. So I mean, it's a way to use something new that is at your disposal to ensure your own security against foreign threats.
Right.
Or at least whether it's in your head or not. Obviously, in most cases, it's mostly in your head because in the world that we live in, nation states are essentially just a state of anarchy. Everybody wants to be left alone, while at the same time building a relationship so that they can, trade and do this and that. But you have one negative. You have government, and you have people in those governments that, just like any human being, they want to ensure security. And what happens when you focus more on security? There's no road towards freedom or liberty for anybody because your focus is on security. And so then that's when the control apparatus comes from. And you just don't. It's not that you don't care what you're doing, or even know what you're doing is bad. It's just that inadvertently you know that this is causing harm to your own population, to your own environment, to your own nation state, to your own area in the world, to the earth in general. And so, but you keep doing it. It's a repetitive cycle. You keep doing the same thing over and over again. What's that the definition of? Insanity. Our government's insane. Well, you are.
That's why I'm going to be a governor.
I've
been canceled. I can't run for governor anymore.
I'm not a crook. Why don't you run for governor of California, dude?
Maybe the Hotel California.
Well, I mean, the only reason I say is I don't think they care if if you've ever been a resident of California. I don't even think they care if you could just say you're Austrian. I'm running for California.
If I'm running with a funny little mustache in the vein of my favorite little Austrian man.
Hitler?
No. Ludwig von Mises.
I think it's a tiny little mustache for a little small Austrian man. No, you got it. You got it.
A funny little Austrian man.
Funny little Austrian man. So
who acted as a government agent.
Yeah. Hitler.
Registered fascist. No. Mises. I think you got the wrong guy.
What are you talking about?
He was a registered fascist. You didn't know that?
Was he really?
Yeah. I don't have the information up, but you can find it.
It's got to be public domain.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's an old man behind you.
What? Where?
He's he's right behind you.
Right behind
He's
me?
got it. He's grabbing
Hold on,
something
man.
out of his pants, dude.
Let me look. Hold on just a second. I'm trusting you here, Zach.
I'm going to have to leave now, but I was sure I came in by that door over there. Hey, man, where's the door to get out of here?
Oh, it's right over there, sir.
Right over where?
The exit sign? It's that door right there.
That red sign?
Yeah, just go right that way.
Okay.
I think he went down the wrong door.
Where am I? Hey, what the fuck's wrong with you? That's not the right door.
Sir, you're gonna want to go to the one with the exit. You went to the door to the side there. That's
I went to the right doors. And where you pointed me to, you fuck?
I pointed you to the exit.
Man, you're fucking with the wrong guy.
I'm sorry.
You see this bulge on my hip? You know what that is?
That's a gun.
That's a Glock. You're fucking with the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Don't ever send me to the wrong door.